Welcome to a brand new episode of Johnson's Court. I'm super excited to bring you today the playoffs. So finally here, and I can say that the regular season is over, and we're happy that it is because playoff time is the time to be alive. With that being said, I have Rio Terry with me today.
What up, y'all?
Unfortunately, Beagle could not make it. He's got other things that he has to do, but he did give me a pick. So we'll get there and we'll talk about his picks and the reason why he gave those picks. So Rio, how are you doing? And are you excited that the playoffs are here?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm ready for this cold to be over. Because it means that the Super Bowl is almost happening once that freezing really kicks in. And I'm excited for football, man. You know, there's teams that really surprised. I think there's teams that scarily barely just sunk into the playoffs, and then we're in for a treat, man. I feel like there's a lot of good matchups, and I feel like we don't truly know who is going to make it out on top.
That's true. I like that a lot, especially this year in general. I really feel like there's a lot that can happen. So with that being said, I'll go ahead and give you Beagle's record here first since he's not here. Last week he went 11-5, did pretty well. So he finished the season at 158 wins, 111 losses, and 2 ties. Rio last week went 7-9, didn't have the best week. Like I said, week 18 is a very hard week to pick. He went a final record of 75 wins, 45 losses, and 1 tie. I don't know the percentage on that. If Rio wants to look that up, he'll know what he went for the season.
What's the number?
75 wins and 45 losses. I went 148 wins, 121 losses, and 2 ties. The funny thing about that is Beagle had 10 more wins than me, and I had 10 more losses than him. So kind of funny to see a stat like that happen, but we both had 2 ties. Oh, and last week I went 11-5 as well. Rio, what's your overall percentage win record?
1 second.
I could look it up for mine, but too lazy. I just know that I have more wins than losses, so I'm happy.
It's 62.5.
There we go, 63%, right on. I love that. Hey, will we go ahead and do Beagle's and mine? Beagle went 158 wins and 111 losses. Might as well go ahead and do it.
158 wins and 111 losses.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
He has a 58.75.
58 win percentage. And then I went 148 wins and 121 losses.
You have a 55.02.
Hey, I'll take that. We're all above 50%, so that's a pretty good season if you ask me. With that being said, that wraps up our regular season records. That will also end our regular season records, but then I will go in and after we do our playoff, we'll have a playoff record, obviously, and then I'll go back and put our playoff records and our regular season record together for a combined total records overall. So that'd be really cool that we get to do for our NFL recap episode at the very end after the Super Bowl. Now here we go. Into the AFC. I'm going to list all the seeds, what the records are, and then Rio, I want you to give me your biggest shocker. You know, it could be, the Chiefs are number 1 or the Chargers made it at number 5. But, just kind of give me your biggest shocker there. So the number 1 seed was the Kansas City Chiefs. They get the bye, and they finish the season 14-3. At number 2, you have the Buffalo Bills at 13-3, and they played the Miami Dolphins, the 7th seed, and they were 9-8. Then you've got the Cincinnati Bengals, 12-4, at the number 3 seed, and playing their divisional rival, the Baltimore Ravens, the number 6 seed, and they went 10-7. Then you've got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who squeezed in the very last week, beat the Tennessee Titans, and finished a record of 9-8. And then they played the number 5 seed, the Los Angeles Chargers, and they finished at 10-7. So with that being said, Rhea, what is your biggest shocker going into the AFC playoff?
Yeah, man. I think that the biggest shocker is just that Miami ended up so low. I know that divisional being the first and all that has to do with that, but it's still, I think, a shocker seeing Miami so low, Jacksonville so high. Baltimore kept it together with all the problems they had.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say that the biggest surprise is Jacksonville. Even though we have been talking about them, I feel like we were always saying that everything had to go right for them to make it here, and they ended up making it here. So I would say that that's my biggest surprise and just the coolest thing I think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I liked that the Jags made it. I was watching that game on Saturday. It was a really good game. I was, really rooting for them. And that game definitely could have went either way, and the Jags happened to come out on top. It's really funny, actually. They were at 3. Their record was 3-7 at one point in the record or in the season, and they made the playoffs. Now that's just crazy. They only in that stretch they only lost one game and still came out on top and made the playoffs. So like you said, everything went right for them. My biggest shocker would probably be the Baltimore Ravens. And the reason I say that is you brought it up a little bit is they were able to stay afloat and win enough games, and the Mar won them enough games that they just had to win a few more games to stay in the playoffs, and they are in the playoffs. Now, the sixth seed, they did just play the Cincinnati Bengals in the last week of the regular season. They did lose, so now it's just going to be a rematch in the playoffs here. So it will still be a pretty good game because it's a divisional game. All divisional games are really normally pretty good, but that's just my biggest shocker that they still were able to make the playoffs. Because if they would, lost another game or something like that, the Pittsburgh Steelers were knocking on the door. They were able to win outright, and they needed the Dolphins to lose, I think, and somebody else to lose in order to get in. And, it just happened that the other teams won. And so, even if you do everything right, sometimes you need a little bit of help and it doesn't go your way. So I would say the Ravens are my biggest shocker just because they kept it together. Now, on to the NFC. The number 1 seed is the Philadelphia Eagles. They're 14-3. Then at the number 2 seed, the 49ers, at 13-4. They are playing the 7 seed, the Seattle Seahawks, who have a record of 9-8. Then you come in with the Minnesota Vikings at the 3 seed, that are 13-4. And they are playing the number 6 Giants, who are 9-7-1. And then at the 4 seed, somehow came in by their chinny chin chin. The Tampa Bay Bucks are 8-9 with a losing record, and they're going to put the Dallas Cowboys at the 5 seed at 12-5. Rio, go ahead once again. What is your biggest shocker here in the NFC?
Well, first off, I feel like there are some teams in the AFC that have been fighting this year for the playoff spot. Like I feel like Jacksonville is definitely the one. And then the Ravens, the Chargers, you could also throw in the Steelers, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
We've been just paying attention a little more of the race of the NFC. With the Giants, are they going to make it?
Yep.
New York's playing well. So Seattle, jumped in there. We didn't know what Tampa Bay was going to do, but that division is just so crazy. So I think that the biggest, craziest thing is that the Giants stuck in and that they're here. We have a friend named Joey who's a big Giants fan. He really believes that they can get a first-round win over the Vikings. So we'll see about that. And I just think that it's crazy that they're back in contention. And I really like seeing the teams that have a lot of heart. I feel like for the AFC, it's the Jags. And I kind of feel like for the NFC, it's the Giants.
Yeah, for sure. Joey definitely does believe that they can pull a win. Always, you believe your team's going to pull it to win, whether they're favored or not. So it's cool that, yes, the Giants are in there. My biggest surprise, you can't really count out Tom Brady just because, he still always had a shot at that divisional title, and they made it and they won. So I'm not going to go Bucks here because, I figured Tom Brady would make it in. But I'm going to go... I'm going to go Seahawks here. And the reason I'm going to go Seahawks here is because the Seahawks traded away Russell Wilson, and they were like, okay, we're going to start our season over. We'll just see what happens with Geno Smith. We don't know what's going to happen with this guy, but we're just going to put him in at quarterback, and whatever kind of season we have, that's the kind of season that we have. And, he led you to the playoffs. That's what happened. He went 9-8, and actually, he needed a little bit of help to get in there. The Packers on Sunday Night Football were playing the Detroit Lions, and they had a very good chance of winning that game. It was going back and forth. I was watching that game. The Packers lost it in the end, and the Detroit Lions were able to win that game and crush Green Bay hopes, because if Green Bay won that game, then we would be talking about Green Bay being the 7th seed playing the 49ers. instead of the Seahawks. And so I like the Seahawks. I think they have a lot of heart too of what you're saying with the Giants. You know, they kind of were kind of written off, not supposed to be. They're kind of just like the Giants with a first year head coach. And I've always kind of liked Geno Smith, and I know he hasn't really had that much great of a career, especially, you know, bouncing between teams and like that. So maybe this is what he needs. Maybe he's the future in Seattle. I don't really know, but that's my biggest shocker is the Seahawks. But I think this is going to be a great AFC playoffs and NFC playoffs. What do you think?
Oh yeah, I agree, man. I agree. It's going to be super exciting on both ends. All these matchups I can see being exciting. I think you had a way better point with that Seattle, man, because I actually had the Packers slipping into the playoffs this year. I thought they were going to do it, so it is pretty surprising that the Seahawks pulled in.
Very true, very true. Now we're going to get into the juicy stuff. Now that we've talked a little bit about the records, where they sit out, we're going to talk about each individual game and give our picks and a little bit of a reason why, because you can't just pick a team and be like, oh, I picked that team. No, you got to give a heart. You got to give a thought behind it to be like, hey, I'm picking them, and this is the reason why and why I think they're going to go on to the next round, and the reason I think this is going to be a good game. So on Saturday at 4:35, the first playoff game to be played is an NFC matchup. It's the Seattle Seahawks and Geno Smith coming in and playing Brock Purdy, the undefeated Brock Purdy, actually, and the 49ers. Now, what's also really cool about the games on Saturday is all four of these QBs are making their playoff debuts. How cool is that?
That's really crazy.
And so, Rio, you know, go ahead, give me your opinion on here. Who do you see? Do you see Geno Smith getting it done? He's taking over the Seahawks. Or do you see the 49ers defense stepping up with Brock Purdy being that, you know, Mr. Irrelevant, being that last pick in the draft? You know, what you kind of see here, it is, you know, being played at the 49ers home, you know, so it's their home game. But, you know, give me your thoughts. You know, who do you really see pulling out this gritty game at 4:35 p.m. on Saturday?
Yeah, I think that I think the Seahawks would have had a lot better chance if they would have ended up with that 6th seed. You know, give them a little bit more life just to try to beat the Vikings. But I think that the 49ers, you know, Geno is, while he is making a debut, he's not, or he is already seasoned, I think, a lot more than Purdy. So with being the leader of the team, I think that they do have the advantage there. And it might be a better matchup at quarterback from Geno. However, I do think that the 49ers defense is going to step in, kick in. I feel like all the veterans are going to help Purdy get some experience, and give me the 49ers on this one.
All right, I like that a lot. 49ers. I almost wrote down Geno Smith for your pick, but he's just a player, not a team. Oh, man. It's so crazy because you can pick, you know, if obviously everybody's healthy, you know, you could pick either team all the way down for each matchup. But I like your reasoning here. You know, let me give a little background on the Seahawks, you know, with Geno Smith, you know, because he's a very vital talking point, you know, because he is their QB. He led them there. He had 4,282 yards. That's his most yards he's ever thrown in his career. The only other time he's ever thrown close to that actually was 303,000 and some yards. I don't know the exact number, but that was his rookie year in the league. And he's been in the league for 10 years, guys. So he finally, you know, has thrown the most yards he ever have. He's playing really well in Seattle. He understands the system and what's going on. But I just don't think that's enough. You know, I know I'm going to say it again, but I said that he's going to fall off. There was going to come a point where he's going to fall off, and you know, he did it. He made the playoffs, so he has not fallen off yet. But I think he does fall off now. And the only reason why I say this, because, you know, like Rio said, the 49ers and their defense, their veteran guys do step up. I know it's Brock Purdy's first game as their starting QB in the league. But at the same time, or in the playoffs is what I mean. But at the same time, sorry, watching my puppy. I just think that I think he's going to get done because his defense is going to back him up. But we'll talk again about him in the second round because that's where, you know, I see him as well. But Brock Purdy does lead the league in like first touchdowns, yards, and one or two other categories since he's entered the league and started games. So I'm going 49ers here with you as well, Rio. And, you know, it's kind of funny because Beagle said the same thing. He's going 49ers, and it's because of their defense. So we're all picking the 49ers because of their defense, and that's what we think is going to elevate them over the Seahawks. Now at 8:15, this is the second game on Saturday night, the only game on late game on Saturday night. It's the Los Angeles Chargers coming in and playing the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'll go ahead and go first here, and then Rio, I'll let you give your opinion. So whoever wins this game right here will go on and play the Kansas City Chiefs. With that being said, the Jags went from last place in their division all the way to their first place in their division this year. So really cool to see with that. And I just think that the Jaguars don't pull it out just because I have more faith in the Los Angeles Chargers. I don't know if there's just something about Justin Herbert that I think that I know that he can get it done, and that's why I'm going Chargers here. But I think this is going to be a great game, and it's going to be back and forth for sure. But I'm going Chargers.
I like your pick. And I think that you didn't know this because I think they did recently change it, but it's actually the lowest seed that makes it out of the first round is going to face Kansas City.
The lowest seed. Okay.
So
Okay.
if Miami happens to win, they would face Kansas City.
Okay.
And then if Baltimore happens to win, then it would be them, and then it would be the Chargers, and then so it would be the lowest seed possible. I think that this is going to be where we first disagree. I'm going to go ahead and take Jacksonville on this one. I feel like they're hot. The Chargers are not hot right now.
Okay.
And
All right.
I feel like, Herbert, he's a better quarterback than Lawrence. I just feel like those Jags got the heart. The Chargers have been letting it slip the last few weeks. They've gotten some, a win here or two, but I just feel like they haven't looked playoff ready. They've dealt with a little bit of injuries as well to their wide receiving core and stuff like that, but I'm feeling it in Jacksonville's favor. So go ahead and give me Jacksonville one. Not only are they going to surprise us by making the playoffs, but they're going to get a win here.
Absolutely. I love that take a lot. And so Beagle is going to agree with you. He's going to go Jaguars as well. And he thinks that, that defense is coming alive. And Mike Williams for the Los Angeles Chargers, he's hurt right now. So that plays a big factor into it. And he's got the Jaguars with you. So, all right. You guys are both going 49ers and both Jags. So you guys are both on the same page right now. Then on Sunday, we have a triple header, guys. This is going to be an amazing day. I know I'm going to be watching football. Actually, I have a birthday party after work in this day, so I'm going to miss a little bit of one game, but that's okay. The first game up is the Miami Dolphins coming in and playing the Buffalo Bills. Now, the Bills are a great team. And the Dolphins have just been hurt at quarterback. Tua will not be playing. He has not cleared concussion protocol. And Teddy Bridgewater is nursing back a dislocated pinky on his throwing hand. So he is up in the air whether he'll even make a debut or if he's coming off the bench or not. But with that case, they are prepping Skylar Thompson. And he is their rookie. So he's going to play for the Dolphins. It's going to be the cold weather. Dolphins don't really play good under cold weather. But we'll just see what happens with the Miami Dolphins. Now, I think if they win this game, if they have a miracle or a shot of winning this game, Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle better play out of their minds. And this will be the biggest upset in NFL playoff history that I've ever witnessed or that I will probably ever see. But I don't think it's going to happen. I just don't think, with Tua not playing, it really hurts their chances a lot. And at least they made the playoffs. But I think, better good luck next year, buddy. And the Josh Allen and the Bills are going to run right over him.
I'm going to have to agree with you, man. I think that with their situation now, it's not going to be the most exciting game in the whole world. I think that with Bridgewater at quarterback, I think that it would be exciting with Buffalo probably taking the cake by a touchdown or two. And with Tua starting, I think that this would probably be the game of the first round, AFC and NFC.
Yeah.
It would be fireworks, and I think that Miami really would have a chance if Tua was healthy, if he'd been healthy for a few weeks leading up to it. But yeah, man, I'm gonna go with Buffalo as well with you. They're just too pristine right now. They're they're one of the big dogs in the league. I think that they're a serious contender, and I don't think that Miami can mess with them.
For sure, yeah, definitely don't see anyone bringing down the big dog. Then at 4:40 p.m., you've got the New York Giants coming in and playing the Minnesota Vikings. This is a home game for the Vikings. Now, the Giants were able to get let in by Brian Daboll. He is the head coach of the Giants. It's his first season. Was really able to turn them around, make some moves, and just bring them to the playoffs. As a sixth seed, which is really great to see. But then on the other side of the field, you've got the Minnesota Vikings with Justin Jefferson being the best wide receiver in the league this year, having a total of 1,809 yards. Led all receivers, and I think that's the sixth or seventh most of all time in a single season, which is really cool to see. And I think this is going to be a great game. And Rio, I'm going to have to let you go first on this one. Do you see the Minnesota Vikings, who you've been, pretty, I would say, hype about, you've had them in your power rankings, or do you see the same water as the Giants do in the water? Like, do you see what they're seeing, or do you think that, Kirk Cousins, can get it done in a non-primetime game?
Yeah, so I feel like, Jefferson is crazy. I think that if Kupp was healthy, he would be the receiver of I think he'd be the best receiver. But Jefferson, crazy year. I think that he changed a lot of our minds. Not that he was anything bad, but I think that he just exceeded expectations, even though we thought he was amazing already. So I think that that's going to be too much for the Giants. I feel like Jefferson and the Vikings defense is going to be just too much for the Giants. I just feel like I know that Minnesota dropped some games. And the Giants couldn't get it done against the Eagles, but go ahead and give me Minnesota on this one.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, I'll give you the Vikings. Everybody, Beagle picked the Bills for that last game. He kind of said the same thing, with, their rookie starting that, he thinks the Bills are going to win. So sorry about that. This is where we're going to have our second disagreement. I believe that the Giants can get this done. Yes, it's Brian's first year head coaching job, but I'm excited to see Barkley in the playoffs. I'm excited to see what he can do. He was a beast at Penn State, and Danny Dimes, Daniel Jones was just able to play pretty well. Got him to a 9-7-1 record, and it's not to say that I don't think it's because Kirk Cousins doesn't get it done, but I just think this is going to be a really good game. I think this can definitely go either way. Just the way the Vikings have been playing, lately, I just see the Giants, they've just been playing a little bit better, and I think they've got a little bit hotter at the right time going into the playoffs. And like I said, it's going to be a great game. I don't really have too much to say other than that, really. I'm just going to go with the Giants here.
And, hey, that's a good pick, man. That's a really good pick. And I feel like this is the exact flip-flop of our AFC Jacksonville and Chargers matchup.
Yes.
I feel like with that matchup, I'm going with the hot, young, unexperienced team. And, you're kind of thinking that the Chargers are going to pull through with a little more veterans, a little more experience. And then over here, I'm kind of trusting on the Vikings, and you're feeling that the hot Giants team. So it's pretty cool that we got that going on.
Absolutely. Beagle's going to go Giants here. He's not really a Minnesota fan with Kirk Cousins and whatnot. Hopefully I read that right. If not, I'll ask him again and see if he went Giants as well. But I'm pretty sure he went Giants there, so I'm pretty sure that's who he's going. And now on to the Sunday night game, which is, I feel like this Sunday night game is going to be good, but I think I know who's going to win. Just if Lamar Jackson was healthy, this would be a great Sunday night game, but he's not going to be playing probably. Lamar has missed 16 straight practices, and I don't know. I mean, he really is injured, and I understand, but maybe there's a little bit of him not getting paid as well, so maybe he's holding out there. I don't really know. We just don't know the full extent of his injury, where he's at exactly. But he's missed 16 straight practices. The Bengals were able to make all the way to the Super Bowl last year and almost won in the final seconds if Cooper Kupp wouldn't have made that last, minute, 2-3 minutes to go in the Super Bowl touchdown. I remember watching that. The Bengals had it. But, that's okay. They want to get back to where they were, but win the Super Bowl this time. And so I think Joe Burrow can lead the Bengals, back to the Super Bowl possibly. It could happen. But they gotta get past the first round, and I believe they get past the first round. What do you say here, Rio?
Yeah, man, I see the Bengals seasons. You're big on Burrow and their success, as he said, and I can't disagree with you, man. I don't think that the Ravens are going to get it done. I think that even with Lamar, it'd be a good game, but I don't think that they would get it done still. So go ahead and give me the Bengals on this one. I think that they're another one of the big dogs. I feel like it's personally, I think it's between the Chiefs, them, and Buffalo for the AFC.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm gonna give you the Bengals here. Um, Beagles going Bengals as well. Because Lamar Jackson's not playing, and that really just kind of sums it up there. So that's what we got for Sunday. All three games there. And then our last game of the wild card round is Monday night at 8:15. It's the Dallas Cowboys coming in and playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Rio, I'm going to go ahead and let you give your opinion here. Do you think, America's team, the Cowboys, can get it done over, the GOAT, the old head, Tom Brady, or will this be his last playoff game ever?
I think that I wish that the Vikings-Giants game would have been in this Monday spot.
Yeah.
However, being said, can't complain. It's still going to be good football. I think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to get it done. I think that, Brady, if he does retire, then yes, I think this will be his last playoff game. But we never know when that man's going to retire. And so, Brady's got weapons. They do have a decent defense. I just think that Dallas, a little more hungry. I feel like Tampa Bay's disappointed more this season. I know Dallas has some losses, but I feel like overall they've been keeping everybody happier. So go ahead and give me Dallas for this game.
Yeah, no, I like your pick a lot because I just don't think Tom Brady gets it done. I think possibly this is his last playoff game ever. Now, Mike Evans has been balling. He has 7 straight seasons, I believe. I know it's at least 7 of 1,000 yards. And so, Tom Brady has contributed to 2 of those seasons. And, like you said, he's got weapons. So it's definitely, probably going to be, a little bit of a high-scoring game. But that Cowboys has a great defense. And, I think they'll be able to get to Tom Brady a few times back there, give him a sack, at least, 2 or 3 sacks. And I think the Cowboys are going to play great. I think Dak Prescott, if he shows up, the Dak Prescott that we know, and Zeke as well, I think this will be a good game. I think the Cowboys win by maybe 2 touchdowns, but I think the Cowboys get it done on Monday night, and I think I'm not rooting for Tom Brady to lose. I mean, okay, maybe just a little bit. Sorry, Maharshi, but I just am, and I think that I understand why this is the Monday night game because Tom Brady's in it, and yes, it's the Cowboys, so I understand, I get it, but I like what you said there. Having the Giants and the Vikings, that would have been a really good Monday night game, and Beagle is going to go the Cowboys as well with us, and like I said, he went Bengals with us on there, so it's kind of funny when you look at it. Beagle actually has everything the same with Rio except the Giants and the Vikings game. And then I disagree with them on the Chargers-Jaguars game and in the Giants and Vikings game. But other than that, we all kind of, know who's we're pretty confident in our picks of who we think is going to win this wild card matchup. So, one more thing, to be said, Rio, what game are you looking forward to watching the most or, just thinking about?
Yeah, man, as far as this first round, I'm definitely got my eyes on Jacksonville, how far they can go. I don't think that, they're a Super Bowl team, but I just think that it's cool just to see how far they can go. And so I think that's what I'm going to be watching this first round a lot.
I like that a lot. I think, like I said, we talked about that game, and it's going to be a really good game. I've got my eyes on the 49ers, and the reason I do is because, Brock Purdy, he's got to play well. Yes, I know his defense is going to play well, but, it's the playoffs. And so I think I'm excited to watch probably those 4 games, those 4 teams the most, just because all QBs are, making their playoff debut, and that's just going to be spectacular. I'm super excited about that, and it's going to be a great wild card round. I'm going to write that down right here. Wild card round. And so with that being said, thank you guys so much for tuning in, watching this episode. It will be out tomorrow. The games aren't until Saturday, but we're super excited for this, Saturday, Sunday, Monday game. And then next week we'll, talk about, the divisional round. So, some teams, at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams will be eliminated. 6 teams are going to go home and watch the next round from their couch just like we will. So with that being said, we're signing off and see you next week.